Alors, bonjour, bienvenue. Merci d'être venu. On va commencer avec l'approbation de l'ordre du jour. Est-ce que c'est acceptable? Oui. Motion, merci. Seconded. All in favor? Against? Abstentions? OK. Procès verbal de la réunion du 7 mars. Here, I think there may be an error. We're going to review the videotape just to make sure we have the vote count right. There's some uncertainty whether, in fact, there was more than one vote in favor of at least some of these motions. So if you'll permit us, we'll defer that paragraph from the procès verbal jusqu'à la prochaine réunion et vérifier avec le videotape pour faire en sorte que les chiffres reflètent précisément ce qui s'est passé le mois dernier. Oui.
J'ai regardé hier soir le film la dernière.
Ah oui? Is that what you do with your Sunday evening?
Yeah, absolutely. I have nothing better to do. And what I noticed is that during the vote, the camera doesn't turn to see everybody.
Ah.
So I'm not sure it's going to be really possible to count on the film. So it might be a message for le caméraman et les gens de garder la main levée plus longtemps, je sais pas.
OK, pour la prochaine fois.
4 or 5 for
Yeah.
two at least.
Mais laissons-nous faire l'effort.
Tout à fait.
Et on va reporter ce paragraphe jusqu'à la prochaine réunion. Mais autrement, est-ce que les procès-verbaux sont acceptables? Commentaires, Terry?
Juste un commentaire au bas de la page, de la première page, en fait. Là. Création d'un règlement scolaire portant sur la politique générale sur le transfert des crédits. Encore une fois, c'est uniquement au premier cycle. Je pense que ça serait bien de systématiquement l'écrire si c'est seulement le premier cycle, seulement les cycles supérieurs. Par défaut, la plupart des gens vont penser que ça s'applique à tout le monde. Ce n'est pas le cas dans cette cas-ci.
On va faire cette modification. Merci. Autres changements ou commentaires? Alors, proposition, s'il vous plaît, pour adopter le procès verbal, sauf que pour l'item concernant la résolution déposée par l'étudiant membre. All those in favor?
Before we vote, I just came in late here. Could you recap was there anything mentioned regarding the motion submitted, that I submitted at the last meeting?
I told the Senate that we were going to put that over to the next meeting because, according to my memory, there was, I think at least, there was more than one person voting for at least some of these motions. So we're going to check the tape and verify.
Sorry, we're going to check the minutes for that section.
No, the tape.
And we'll come back next month with that paragraph with the numbers.
In other words, all of the minutes related to the motion on the Haifa exchange program
Right.
will be put forward to the next meeting
Right.
before they are approved.
Exactly.
And the reason for that is to recount the votes.
Well, if we can, we're going to look at the tape. I just happen to remember on some of these there was more than one single vote in favor. Maybe it's just my imagination, but we'll see if we can tell from the tape. One member of the Senate has said that you can't really tell from the tape because the camera doesn't pan the audience. We'll find out. Apart from that, is there a motion to approve the procès verbal? Seconded? All in favor? Against? Abstentions? Then that's done. La prochaine item, c'est des questions découlant, mais we don't have any, so that makes that easy. Alors, on a deux items pour l'approbation du Sénat, règlement scolaire, item 4 et 5. Joanne, c'est à vous.
Merci. Alors, pour l'item 4, création d'un règlement scolaire portant sur la politique générale sur le transfert des crédits, nous avions soumis à la dernière réunion du Sénat la version française et vous avez maintenant la version anglaise. Nous avons modifié le titre pour inclure pour les programmes de premier cycle et nous avons fait aussi les modifications que le Sénat avait demandées. Et j'aimerais juste faire une petite correction à la page 6. Cours suivis dans d'autres universités, courses completed at other universities, ça devient le point 6.4. Et programme d'échanges internationaux, International Exchange Programs, devient le point 6.5.
OK. Ça, c'est l'item 4.
C'est ça.
Question? Discussion? All those in... Well, someone... You're moving it. Seconded by...
I consider.
Ah, merci. Alors, en faveur? Opposé? Abstention? OK, Joanne, numéro 5.
Création de règlement scolaire portant sur l'inscription au grade. Comme tous les règlements que nous proposons au cours des dernières réunions, il s'agit d'un règlement qui se retrouve uniquement dans les annuaires facultaires. Et en vue de créer un répertoire unique, nous proposons donc le texte qui suit. Donc, l'inscription au grade. Vous voyez qu'il y a des modifications. Nous avons changé les exigences du diplôme pour exigences du grade. Donc, on a uniformisé le vocabulaire et on a ajouté un paragraphe pour les études supérieures. Dernier aspect, c'est à la fin du règlement, on avait une nota bene on a retiré la désignation de nota bene et l'étudiant doit s'assurer qu'il est satisfait à toutes les exigences de son grade, donc l'étudiant est responsable de cette partie de la demande de l'inscription au grade.
OK. Question? Discussion? Moved by Joanne, seconded. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you for that. Le prochain item, c'est une proposition déposée par un membre et étudiant du Sénat. It was in an email which was sent to you March 23rd. Mr. Hickey.
Thank you. You'll have on the table or hopefully distributed to you at the beginning of the meeting two documents that will go with the presentation of this motion today. The chairman, through the president's office, has informed me that the first and second document that were to be included in this package would not be distributed by the secretary's office, and that with respect to these emails, which are the first and second items in the document, we have no way of knowing whether the parties to these communications consent to their release. Under such circumstances, it would be inappropriate for the Secretariat to be distributing these communications. However, the President's office has informed me that if I wish to take it upon myself to distribute them, then that's up to me. And so I'll just go ahead now and distribute these two documents. Take a moment to do that around the table. Go.
Before anything else, could I ask that you put your motion properly before the Senate? Is there a seconder for the motion?
I will address that matter once all the information has been distributed.
I'm asking if there's a seconder for the motion. Someone prepared to second the motion? Well, then your motion fails for want of a seconder, Mr. Hickey.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I'm simply preparing the motion, and I will address the Senate with regards to the...
Your motion
items in
doesn't
the
have
motion
a
and
seconder, Mr.
secondary.
Hickey, and it's not a process by which you make your presentation and then see if you can get a seconder. I asked if there was a seconder, there is none, and
Excuse
the
me,
motion fails.
Mr. Chairman, you're now interfering with the presentation of this motion.
Yeah, well-
I am distributing the information that goes with the motion, and then I will proceed to discuss the text of the motion, and at that point, I believe it's appropriate that we proceed.
You can raise that under other questions if you'd like. I put this motion, there's no seconder, it fails, and we're going to move on with the agenda. The next item on the agenda is the report on graduate student elections. Francois?
Oui, il y a eu les résultats des élections au niveau des études supérieures. Il y a deux sections, comme vous savez, pour les études supérieures, pour le Sénat. Un au niveau des humanités et un au niveau des sciences. Au niveau des humanités, il y a eu des élections. C'est Brenda Quigley qui a été élue. Alors, il y avait deux candidats. Et au niveau de la faculté des sciences, il y avait une seule candidat, Joseph Hickey. Il a été élu par l'acclamation.
Merci, François. Decisions of the Executive Committee of the Senate, January 31st, 2011. These are before the Senate for information. Are there any questions arising from those minutes? In that case, we go to other business. Did you want to raise something under other business, Mr. Hickey?
Yes, I would like to raise this motion that I prepared today.
Well, you can't raise the motion. You can't raise the motion. There was no one to second it. But if you have a question or an issue to raise, you can do that.
As I said, Mr. Rock, I am now distributing the information for the motion. And I think that it's appropriate to call for a seconder once the information for the motion has been distributed.
Well, the members of the Senate have had your motion in their hands for some time now, and your motion is not being received because it wasn't seconded. Now, if you have another item you want to raise under other business, the Senate is prepared to hear you. What did you want to say under other business?
Yes, I will raise the motion once I have distributed this information. Thank you. We have a meeting here scheduled today from 3 o'clock until 5 o'clock. This is the only motion on the table, on the agenda for today's meeting. And so I believe we have plenty of time to discuss this motion, to hear the 5-minute presentation that I have prepared for this motion, as well as, I hope, to welcome a spokesperson for some students who have some concerns about the motion to address the Senate for 3 minutes. Now, it's about 3:15. It's 20 after 3 in the afternoon. The rest of the items are simply for information. We have an hour and a half scheduled here, and so I think it's appropriate that we hear from the students who are concerned and also to hear what the motion is itself. In fact, I'll take this opportunity, since there seems to be some tension here this afternoon, to read the motion so that we're all aware of what exactly it is that I will be.
Before you do that, let me just make clear what's happening here, Mr. Hickey. Your motion was presented and failed, and your motion is not before the Senate. Under other business, we permit senators to raise other matters they wish to speak to. I take it you're now going to speak to another matter, but your motion is not before the Senate, and so it's rather artificial to talk about speaking to your motion because it's not here.
Well, members of the Senate, I must say that I disagree with the chair's interpretations of what has happened here today. The motion was never brought forward by me. I had not yet distributed all the information. And so, as I mentioned before, I believe that the chairman has interfered with this motion by trying to go past it. I'm now preparing, informing you, providing you with all the information that I have for this motion. And then it should be tabled, and I believe that that would be the procedural correct way to go about it.
Well, let me express my point of view on that point. The procedure of the Senate is that a motion is put before the Senate properly with a seconder before it's debated and discussed. It's done that way because the motion has to be properly constituted before it's on the floor for discussion. Your motion was not properly constituted, it lacked a seconder, and it was not received. So you can scarcely speak to a motion that's not before the body.
Now, once again, I must disagree with the chairman. I have not yet put forward this motion. Before I do that, I would like everyone to be provided with the information that accompanies the motion. Unfortunately, the Secretary's office did not provide the information to everyone, and so I have to take a little bit of your time to go around distributing that information. As I said, we have an hour and a half left in this meeting here today, and it would only take another 2 minutes to continue the information distribution. Just to be clear, I'll read the motion, what it will be, what I will put forward. And it says, whereas the University of Ottawa is an academic institution that values cultural diversity, and whereas students and staff at the university should be free of discrimination based on race, religion, or nationality of origin, and whereas it is in the interest of all students for the university to protect minority rights and prevent all forms of discrimination, be it resolved that the Senate of the University of Ottawa reaffirms its commitment to non-discrimination in all its academic programs and academic endeavors, and be it further resolved that the university promotes its place as Canada's university, a place of tolerance and diversity. This motion is in the context of some shocking and disturbing complaints that have been brought forward by students at the university. It is an ongoing problem. It is acknowledged by the Student Appeals Center on campus to have been persistent and widespread. Some of the students who share these concerns and are directly involved have accepted my invitation to come here today to inform us more. This motion as well is modeled on a motion that was approved last year following the Ann Coulter affair, which was covered in the national media and involved an issue regarding freedom of speech on campus. The issue of systemic discrimination by race and ethnicity has now, as of the last month, been covered in the national media, for example, in the Globe and Mail, and that is the article that is number 3 in the package and that has already been distributed to you. And so I'll now just take 2 minutes to complete the distribution of this information, and then I plan to bring the motion forward as I stated at the appropriate time on the agenda.
Is Jean-Marc a member of the Senate?
No.
Marie-Josée. But we're losing our quorum. Yeah, we lost it. Do we have quorum? No.
C'est combien tu as besoin?
38? I'll ask the Secretary's office to tell us whether we have quorum for the meeting. Annie?
On est 28.
No.
We don't have the quorum.
We don't have quorum to continue, colleagues. So the meeting is adjourned.